This is my dawn declaration, define expectations, inspired to aspire to higher elevation. Started at Genesis, read the entire revelation, dedication, meditation, and some fire medication. Judge a prophet and a poet, both body reputation, fanatically practice. Perfection requires preparation. I go hard, like this could be the last chance.
All right. So you've got a chance to see all 4 contestants. We're going to take a short commercial break while each of them are then going to come up and deliver their 5-word creative poem. Remember, this is our new round in which the poets are literally going to have to create a poem tonight off the 5 words that they're going to get, which I'll tell you after the break, so that they can show off their creativity and their spontaneity, and again, earn a chance to get some extra points, which is gonna be needed because as you've seen, the competition is hot. So it's gonna be hard for the judges to choose who stays and which 2 will be going home. So after the break, see you then.
This is my dawn declaration, define expectations, inspired to aspire to higher elevation. Started at Genesis, read the entire revelation, dedication, meditation, and some fire medication. Judge a prophet and a poet, both body reputation, fanatically practice.
Welcome back to I Got the Last Word. Before the break, you got to see our contestants perform. Each week, we like to give you an opportunity to see other poets and showcase poets from Phoenix Valley that are also amazing, that are not part of this competition for their own reasons, but also great in their own minds. So we have 2 for you tonight that you'll get to see. First up is a great friend of mine, his name Robert Flipside Daniels. He is it's from California, and he came to Arizona because of a woman. And that's a whole nother story that he'll probably tell you later. But he is the founder of Black Poet Ventures. He is one of the main people that when I started poetry, dating myself, back in high school, his group used to come and actually do spoken word. And he was part of that. And before seeing Black Poet Ventures and some of the poetic ductions that they used to put on, doing poetry and theater and blending them, I never thought that my poetry was something I would ever say out loud. And so being a part of those productions made me want to hone my poetic skills, make me do spoken word versus just writing it down in a book. And so please welcome, dear friend of mine, an amazing poet doing lots of amazing things in the community, Mr. Robert Flipside. Flipside. And while we're waiting for him to come up, I also want to mention he has an open mic that is the 2nd and 4th Friday of every month, and it's called Confessions. And just that name should tell you a little bit about what it's about, just confessions. So each week, he features different poets, but he also gives out little confessions about himself during the night. And he also forces the poets and the audiences that participate, that get on the list, to also share their confessions. And so it's another funny thing about him, but please welcome Mr. Robert Flipside. Welcome.
Oh, that's it? Oh, okay. I missed my cue? All right. I will not be put in a poetic box. I will not be that guy who does this or does that, only talks about sex or being proud to be black. Yeah, I can get down with the best and I love my skin tone, but when it comes to the art, I'd rather be in a class on my own. So I constantly push to make my next piece better than the last, using verbal jujitsu and brain crunches like in gym class. Because words are heavy, use care whenever lifting, and mean what you say because the audience is listening. Salacious metaphors and sexual innuendos are cool, but don't be so devoid of knowledge that you're labeled a fool. Because labels are sticky and not easily removed. No one wants to be that asshole or mistaken as crude. Or maybe you do, and if so, then do you. But don't get mad if someone calls you a name you don't approve. Roosevelt said, speak softly and carry a big stick. I say walk proudly and carry knowledge like a brick. And don't be afraid to wield it and use it like a weapon, like a drive-by soapbox machine gun wisdom, and keep on stepping. But don't follow the footsteps that have ruined rap music. A contest of who can make songs and videos the lewdest, filmed in strip clubs, complete with strippers on their backs. with lyrics so harsh, even Too Short says, I can't believe he said that. Disrespectful to the craft, ignoring the true art, an unflinching money grab devoid of truth and heart, because without truth and heart, poetry's just words. Sometimes poignant, but mostly absurd, like a car without wheels or a bird without wings, a pop culture only concerned with how their jewelry blings. So I wait, meditate, and elevate, using words that create and lead to intelligent debate. Be the first to stop the hate, the controller of my own fate, because that's the only way I can lead to true contentment. A point of happiness without ire or resentment, because hate never builds, it only destroys, turning upstanding men into petty little boys. Reverting back to childhood, to when their guns were made of plastic, and friends would get shot and bounce back like elastic, but steel is much colder, and death strikes like a boulder to the fiberglass psyches of millions of young urban soldiers, holding it down, slanging for the homies on the block, using little plastic baggies and semi-auto Glocks with the same ultimate fate of 5x7 cells shaped like a box. Or maybe an earthly existence buried in a rectangular plot, constantly boxing like an Ali fight, using many different angles, but none of them quite right. That's why I prefer lines from point A to point B. Get in line for success. When they ask who's next, I say me. Because just like success, failure is a mindset. If you only think of losing, that's exactly what you'll get. So get off your asses. Think outside the box. Get in lines for success. Like hip hop, you don't stop. But remember, the line is long, so be patient. Because you can't stop at the end. Avoid, be inventive in thought, so you too can avoid the poetic box. Okay, I got one more for you. That was called Poetic Box, and this one is called Cherry Blow Pops. I've been in love with her since the 3rd grade. And every day we spend apart is like a dream delayed. I remember the first time I met her on the seesaw. I put sand in her hair and she knocked me to the ground, and ever since then I always wanted to be around her. I take long walks with her, carry library books for her, get to school an hour early just to see her. Her name was Sherry, and I adored her like I do my favorite candy. Caramel-colored eyes made me long to be her Willy Wonka. Skin of a Hershey chocolate made me want to kiss and lick her face. You see, I had a sweet tooth for her, and even a dentist couldn't cure it. But just after her 12th birthday, her mother told me they were moving away. I was crushed, devastated. It all seemed so sudden. I still remember the last walk we ever took together. We went to the corner store. I got a pack of Now and Laters and a root beer, and she got a Coke and a cherry blow pop. And I walked her home and kissed her on the cheek. It was sweet. Reminiscing on that day still takes me back to my childhood, sharing root beer floats and apple Jolly Ranchers, Thrifty's ice cream and Bubblicious gum. But in my mind, she always smells like cherry blow pops. Little did I know at night Sherry was forced to blow pops, painfully innocent. Her innocence became her pain. She would later hurt anyone who dared to love her, rub her, or even hug her too tight. It just ain't fair that that bastard that claimed to love her had extinguished her light. I loved her. And even if I wasn't truly in love with her in the 3rd grade, doesn't mean that I wouldn't be. You see, statistics show that 1 out of every 3 girls is molested before the age of 18, so you may not know her as Sherry, but you know her. She may be the girl next door, your sister's best friend, the girl at the corner store with the crooked smile, or maybe that cousin you don't know all that well, but you know her. Now that you do, let's start making some changes. Let's stop creating impressions that lead to depression. Stop protecting the criminals, claiming that the damage is minimal. No excuses for these abuses. No alibis for priests, pastors, coaches, and rabbis. We can no longer accept unacceptable behavior, even if it comes from someone who claims to be your savior. Instead, we need to save her. In my mind, she always smells like cherry blow pops. I just wish that all of her pain would stop.
Always a pleasure, Flip. So thank you so much for sharing your words. Let them know, since you're not part of this competition, where can they find you if they want to see what you're doing or just follow you on social media?
First of all, thank you for having me.
Yes.
This was awesome. I love seeing the next generation of poets. That's always fun for me. They can catch me on Facebook. My name is Robert Flipside Daniels on Facebook. I have an Instagram, Flipside_poet. And I have other things, but I don't remember them all. I'm going to be honest with you.
And then your show, Confessions, is every second and fourth Friday, correct?
Second and fourth Fridays, I have a show called Confessions at the Concierge Bistro Bar on downtown Phoenix. On the second Friday is open mic, and on the fourth Friday is Poetic Showcase, where it's all features.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Flip, for coming out, and good luck.
Thank you.
This is my dawn declaration, define expectations, inspired to aspire to higher elevation. Started at Genesis, read the entire revelation, dedication, meditation, and some fire medication. Judge a prophet and a poet, both body reputation, fanatically practice, perfection requires preparation.